Okay, we're ready for the final um video in the series. And the task at hand is to add documents to the room we created in the last video. I use two means of bringing documents into a room. There's other ways of doing it, but the most basic way is how I'm doing it right now. Um, so we've done details. We assign a task list for a buyer, and we want to now add documents. So the two ways are you can email them in, or you can import them, upload them, whatever. I start with zip forms because I created a transaction in zip forms for this same transaction room. When first you go there, it asks you to pick the transaction you're looking for and link it. Once it's been linked, the next question is, do you want to take documents from the forms library or the linked transaction? Well, the forms library are blank forms. So my philosophy is to only put fully executed documents into this transaction room at this stage. That could change as well. You'll notice some are blue and some are red. Well, the red ones are PDFs, which means they are fully executed. And so we want that affiliated business. We want the consumer. I don't bring in the contract of sale at this point because that's been signed by my buyer, but has not been signed by the seller yet. Single property, and I don't bring in, at this point, I'm not bringing the summary in. There's one form that is not fully executed, but is complete, and that's the transmittal. That's not signed by anybody, but is required in this transaction room. Let's see if this will work. I've had some problems because I've done this a couple times as samples. So there's, in order to put the documents in the proper placeholder, there's a couple ways you can do it. One is drag and drop. Okay, and that works smoothly. The next is to just click the button, look for the corresponding document, and say save. I'm having problems with this because I've done it a couple times, and so there's not much I can do to get around that. So what you would do, and I don't think this will work either. Consumer information, this is CIS. Okay, so it's let me drag and drop them. See if it'll let me drag and drop this transmittal. All right. Because of me practicing this video, it won't allow me to just click and add the document, but that should be doable. And here's the reason, because I got two transmittals in here, which I don't know why. But here's how you get rid of stuff you don't want. Okay, so I've imported from zip forms those documents that are only signed by one side, the buyer. So the next thing I do is I have sent the contract to the listing side. They have this is it coming from Zip Form Plus to myself. This is what it would look like to the selling agent, and there's the contract. He would then have it executed and sent back to me. Here it is. I don't know how this got out of my inbox. So here it is coming back from the other agent. And so when it comes back from the other agent, I will just go over to the forward button, hit forward. And as you recall from a previous video, we put in a email address for our room and hit send. And that will move it over into the inbox. Take a minute to come over. me. Give me all sorts of agita. There it is. Okay. So you just forward the document, the email from the OB. All that goes in is the document, not the whole email. And then you click that, and right here is the move command, and it allows you to choose a destination, which would be an active transaction. And then it shows which ones are active. And that's it. And you click move, and that's in. Now you have to go back around because the inbox is for all the transactions. And that's, you can send them directly into transactions. I'm not doing any of that stuff, too fancy. So when you go to documents, there it is. There's the fully executed contract. Let me try this again, see if it's going to do it. That's it. We've put all the necessary documents in. It's at this point, I mean, look through these other ones. If you needed a dual disclosure in-house deal, MLS sheet, you would download onto your desktop and bring that in. Let's do one of those. Let's assume that you have something on your desktop. Then you'd go through the computer, desktop. I got something in here. So yeah, let's just say you want to keep this information in. You could shift through all of these, and that's there's the insurances, the rental card, the condo doc. So you can bring in anything you can scan and drop in a folder on your machine. You can bring into DTR that way. To me, that's the easiest way of doing business at this point. The next couple items, people, I'm not to the point where I'm comfortable adding buyers, sellers, attorneys, and title companies. Maybe by the end of the year I will be. Envelopes is to send the documents that are in the transaction room out to have them signed, but I am not going to do it that way. I'm going to do all my signing through zip forms. By the time I get to this transaction room, I want to have everything fully executed. Once that's done, the next move is to submit the task list. Now, this is going to go down to Rinda and Amy and Sean, and they're going to look through each and every one of these documents and make sure that they were properly executed. You'd get called on this, and there's no date. I was just doing it for sample purposes. But they'll go through and review each of those. Like the main document, the purchase agreement, is not signed by the seller. Again, just for expedience purposes. But that's it. If you're going to do the basic steps, the basic use, there's a lot of other things you can do. And we'll get to that, in DocuSign, zip forms, DTR 2. But for the time being, that should be able to get you to get paid. All right. Thanks.